Okay, welcome back to Grind Time. It's the evening of June 23rd, and well, I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but everything is hooked up. The compressor is all in, and all of the piping is in. So I ran a vacuum check, and the good news is no leaks. So let me take you through everything. I'm going to bring up the video I took throughout the day, narrate it for you, and give you a sense of what it takes, and important safety precaution about a few minutes into this, that you always always have to wear safety glasses. Today was a perfect example of that, because of this little plug went flying like a bullet, and I have it caught in slow-mo. Okay, so I had to use snap ring pliers. What you're seeing is the two compressors. The one closer is the newer one, and I'm using a snap ring plier to pull out what is the ground plug. There's a ground wire that goes to ground the compressor, if you will, I believe for the clutch to complete the circuit. So you need a pair of snap ring pliers if you have any chance of doing this quickly without ruining the snap ring. Now watch this. In the bottom, that was in slow motion, and it went flying like a bullet. Luckily, it didn't hit my computer. It didn't hit anything, but you can see. So crisis averted. I'm putting the switching out the plug with the snap ring in. So always be careful. Always have safety glasses on. Here I'm taking the high and low inlet and outlet seal off. That's a blocking plate for shipment. I'm adding more PAG oil, wiping it down. The seals that came from the rebuild are good. And I'm just putting the plug on to get it over. I went through a couple of iterations, I'm not going to lie, putting this in. The easiest way is not what I'm doing here. What you end up doing is, I should have just kept the plug, the pipes off, set the compressor in, put the mounting bolts back that way. Would have helped if I took some pictures from when I disassembled everything, because I struggled a bit remembering. I lost a lot of time today because of that. So always take pictures before you start disassembling things, and that'll help you a long way. So right now, and what I found is, because this thing's on a pivot and it's on a fan belt, and it's got a fan belt to it, hooking up the high and low hoses just didn't make sense from the get-go. I really struggled with getting the bolts in. So once I took those apart, took the high and low things off, the compressor was much easier, relatively easier to put in. Okay, with the compressor in, I was going to start putting all of the mounting brackets back in and putting the fan belts together. Then I said, wait a minute, all of the plumbing's in. Why don't I go ahead and run a vacuum test tonight? And that way I know whether I've got a problem. Because it doesn't make any sense to lock everything down if I still have a leak. Okay, you can see the manifold is on the hood behind me on the Cadillac. I have everything still hooked up, and actually, if we were to look at those gauges close up, you'd see it's holding -30. So you see the gauges hooked up. The first thing you do for a vacuum test is you open, which is clockwise on the quick disconnects, both the high and low, and then it's counterclockwise on the manifold bracket. So now that I've opened those, and you could probably hear it with the pump running, that it's now drawing a vacuum, and you can see the smoke coming off of the that's the steam pulling off all of the moisture. That's not R12 or R1 or 134. That was moisture coming out of the system. In just a couple days I've had it open up with the relative humidity in here. So now what you're seeing is I'm doing a time lapse of, well, right now it's going to the, and the angle's funky, but so now I'm shutting off the manifold knobs, and now what I have is constant vacuum. So if you look up at the blue dial, I'm holding, it looks like 29 inches, but it's actually 30. So the whole point of this test is to let it go for an hour, and it is going, this is time lapsed down to 30 seconds, is an hour and 15, and the gauge did not move. So I'm very pleased about that. That means it held at an hour and 15. If I were to look right now, it's still holding vacuum. I checked in with a friend and double checked the work I did with a couple videos on YouTube, and confirm that I did do the vacuum test right. It is holding a vacuum. We're now about 3 hours into it, and it's holding it. So it had to be, the leak had to be coming from the compressor. Is the only thing I can think of, the old compressor, that is. So that's, we've made some good progress today. Tomorrow will be about finalizing, getting the compressor brackets all back into place, everything locked down, and then monkeying with the fan belts, all 4 of them, to get the AC compressor one on. So literally have to untighten the power steering, a vacuum pump, and the alternator to put on the air conditioning belt, because that's the backmost one, and then have to retighten everything. So I'm going to make a quick trip in the morning. Since I'm pulling all those belts, I may as well put on the other 2 that have not been replaced so far. So I'll have nice new belts, nice new air conditioner. And then when that's all done, I will fill the system, and hopefully we will have cold air. Anyway, that's the scoop today. I appreciate you watching. Keep your fingers crossed that the test is in fact good, and that the compressor works. We'll finally have this project finished. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.